of Trustees, January 18th, 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Trustee Clark, Trustee LeKind,
Here.
Trustee Romanello,
Here.
Trustee Stevens,
Here.
Trustee Shaning,
Here.
and Mayor Pro Tem Elliott is noted absent.
Okay. Before us, we have an agenda. Do we have any modifications or a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson?
Trustee Shaning,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee LeKind,
Yes.
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Trustee Romanello,
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0. Item number 3, proclamation. Proclamation for School Choice Week. Darcy, would you please read the proclamation?
Whereas all children in Town of Monument should have access to the highest quality education possible, and whereas Town of Monument recognizes the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students in Town of Monument to be successful adults, and whereas quality education is critically important to the economic vitality of Town of Monument, and whereas Town of Monument is home to a multitude of high-quality public and non-public schools from which parents can choose for their children, in addition to families who educate their children in the home, and whereas educational variety not only helps to diversify our economy, but also enhances the vibrancy of our community, and whereas Town of Monument has many high-quality teaching professionals in all types of school settings who are committed to educating our children, and whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now, therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Town of Monument proclaims January 3rd through January 29th, 2022 as Town of Monument School Choice Week and call this observance to the attention of our citizens. Proclaim this 18th day of January 2022.
Was there any board objections to this proclamation? Okay. So it is proclaimed. Item 4, presentation of Tri-Lakes views. Mr. Hall.
Happy New Year. My name is Sky Hall. I'm from Tri-Lakes Views and Art Sites, and we are the organization responsible for the art town. We're aware, but the last 2 years we've been on a bit of a hiatus because of the COVID issues, but we are relaunching Art Sites this year. And I put one of these. Did you have a chance to look it over and read it?
No, they were just, we got them when we got here.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, at any rate, you're aware of the map that we have been creating every year that has locations of all the artwork and profiles of all the artists and that kind of thing. Well, we're relaunching, but we're not going to be doing a map. We're going to be partnering with a group called AutoCast, and they're out of New York, and they create a GPS-driven arts tour. Basically, we're creating a tour, driving and walking tour of the Tri-Lakes area. So you can start at several locations in Monument and then drive through town, park in town, the big red sculpture park, and Santa Fe Trail, and be some other things hopefully. But what this basically does is it creates a QR code for each piece of art. So you'll be able to walk up to each piece of art and you'll be able to scan it with your phone. It will give you a profile of the artist, actually done by the artist himself. Man who is working with us, Eric Feinstein from AutoCast, will do an interview of each artist and do a profile, and that will be as part of the QR code. But not only that, that businesses in the community can also participate and get on the QR code. Let's say you're looking at one of the pieces of art at the Big Red, and it also has information on there about restaurants in the area and art galleries and things like that. So you'll be able to go there, and it'll help. Hopefully, it'll create more interest for people coming into town. So we're excited about that. And if you look on the little brochure, there is a QR code on the inside. You can scan that and it'll take you to the app, the AutoCast app. It's a free app. It goes on your phone. Basically what it does is it creates a profile. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to play something for you to give you an idea of what this is going to be. So basically, pull up the app on your phone. You go to Tri-Lakes, and up will come a series of photographs of the art, various profiles, and then what will happen is
drive west on 2nd Street between the rows of pine trees and you'll soon approach the ice sculpture mural. Turn right at the stop sign on Beacon Light Road to the right. Here you can see ice harvest on the side of the Works building. Monument was settled in 1884 at a time when potatoes and cattle ranching were its primary trades. Monument Lake, located nearby, froze solid in the winter, and as the mural depicts, the ice was cut, conveyed to storage, and sold to both residents and the railroad. The ice was used by the train, which, having just maneuvered Palmer Pass, was often overheated and in need of a cooling system.
So that would be one particular piece of art. Every piece of art would have a profile just like that. So it's really could be a really cool thing, and it will get not only people hopefully coming up here to go on the tour, but also put them in touch with our member restaurants and various art galleries and things that are in town. So it'll be a great thing. This is also going to be a sales tool. Basically, we're going to try to get businesses to buy into this, and instead of doing advertising in another way, we'll do it in this way, and hopefully we'll get some good fundraising out of it. On that note, and this will start in, I think our call to artists is going out into February or first part of March. Art will be chosen and then installed in June. Go for 1 year again, which is our arrangement. So basically, in terms of the fundraising that we're hoping that businesses will participate in, I'm here to ask, over the last 5 years, we've had a memorandum of understanding, which is about $5,000 a year for art sites from the town. This was our last year. This was the last 5 years, but due to COVID and issues that came up, I'd like to ask for the town council to extend that $5,000 stipend to art sites for another year. So I'm hoping that you can see the value in that, give us that agreement. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Yes.
On the QR code,
Yeah.
is that shareable to anybody and everybody whenever anybody wants to share it?
Well, not really. I don't think QR codes are basically shareable unless somebody wants to copy it. But all it does is it takes you to the app. It takes you right to the AutoCast app, so you can have access to all of this information. So it's not like proprietary information. It's everybody has access to it.
I think that sometimes they make the QR code shareable.
Well, I mean, it's shareable in this sense, but I suppose now, yes, you could take that QR code and probably share it with a friend who you wanted to, if they could go on the Apple store and get it there as well, or Android or any of them.
We'll just love to share.
Sure. Well, it's no problem if you share it. You're not sharing anything that's going to be secret or anything. It just gives people an opportunity to get the free app that allows them to access all the information.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. As far as funding discussing, Mr. Foreman, I know that we have a board retreat the 25th,
Yes, sir.
which we will be discussing some of the groups we just support, and at that time, I think it would be best for the board to decide what groups they plan to continue to support and how we approach that.
Yeah, I think town staff's looking for direction from the board coming from that workshop or from that retreat.
And you'll have that on the agenda for the retreat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Okay, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
You should hear from somebody after the 25th of February. Okay, next item on the agenda, ordinances. Ms. Flynn, am I clear in that you will have one presentation for ordinances 5A through 5D?
Correct.
Okay. But these will be all voted on separately,
Correct.
and we are the applicant, so there'll be no other applicant.
Correct.
Okay. And we will hold it as one public hearing. So, Ms. Flynn, go ahead and take it away.
Just wait 1 second. Mike is sharing the screen for me. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Tonight, I'm presenting zoning of 2 enclave parcels within the town of Monument.
Hold on one moment, Ms. Flynn. Mr. Anderson, can you help Trustee Clark real quick? Or did you figure it out? Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Continue, Ms. Flynn.
Annexation and zoning of 2 enclave parcels, Triview Metro District Ordinances 1 and 2, 2022, and Trinity Lutheran Church Ordinances 03 and 04, with a total of 4 ordinances. An enclave is an unincorporated area of land entirely contained with the outer boundaries of the annexing municipality for at least 3 years. Town of Monument may annex the properties by ordinance. The town of Monument is annexing these properties to have a cohesive town of Monument boundary. The first enclave is Triview Metro District's tank site. Is addressed at 16131 St. Lawrence Way in unaddressed St. Lawrence Way. It is 1.33 acres in size. The second enclave is Trinity Lutheran Church, addressed at 177050 Knollwood Drive. It's 5 acres in size. The zone changes. Triview Metro District's parcels addressed at 16131 St. Lawrence Way and unaddressed St. Lawrence Way. The current unincorporated El Paso County zoning is RR5. The proposed town of Monument zoning is Public Zone District. The Public Zone District is defined as property devoted to public and quasi-public buildings and facilities, in this case, a tank site. The second zone change is Trinity Lutheran Church addressed at 17750 Noah Drive. Current unincorporated El Paso County zoning is RS 20,000. The proposed town of Monument zoning is large lot residential, which is very similar to the RS 20,000. Both property owners agree with their proposed zoning designations. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the enclave annexations and their respective zoning designations based on the staff report findings that the proposed annexations and zoning designations comply with all standards and criteria for approval with a vote of 5-0. Staff recommended motions. For the annexations, move to adopt ordinance annexing to the town of Monument the property addressed as 16131 St. Lawrence Way and unaddressed St. Lawrence Way consisting of 1.33 acres. And they also move to adopt an ordinance annexing to the town of Monument the property addressed at 17750 Noah Drive consisting of 5 acres. For the establishment of zoning, town staff recommends to move to adopt an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the town of Monument, establishing the public zone district related to the area known as 16131 St. Lawrence Way and unaddressed St. Lawrence Way consisting of 1.33 acres. Town staff also moves to adopt an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the town of Monument, establishing large lot residential zone district related to the area known as 17750 Noah Drive consisting of 5 acres. These annexations are in conformance with Article 2, Section 30 of the Colorado Constitution and Section 3112-106. And the zoning is consistent with the evaluation criteria of the Land Development Code, Section 1803-140D. And staff is here to answer any questions.
Questions from the board? Ms. Flynn, how long, you mentioned the minimum is 3 years. Did I miss how long these particular lots have been in town?
Over 3 years. I don't know the exact time that they've been there, but it's been over 3 years.
Okay. This is a public hearing item, so I will open it up to the public for any comments. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance 01, 02, 03, or 04? Seeing none, Mr. Anderson, do we have anyone online wishing to comment on any of those ordinances? Okay. Any other discussion from the board? Okay. At this time, I'll close the public hearing portion of these ordinances, and I will bring it back to the board for more motion on ordinance number 01, 2022.
Sorry. I will make a motion to approve ordinance number 1, 2022, an ordinance annexing the town of Monument, the property addressed as 16131 St. Lawrence Way, unaddressed St. Lawrence Way consisting of 1.33.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee LaKind,
Yes.
Trustee Romanello,
Yes.
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Trustee Shaning,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes. That motion passes 6-0. Do we have a motion for ordinance number 02, 2022?
I make a motion to pass ordinance 02, 2022, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the town of Monument, establishing the public P-zone district related to the area known as 16131 St. Lawrence Way and unaddressed St. Lawrence Way consisting of 1.33 acres.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Trustee LaKind,
Yes.
Trustee Shaning,
Yes.
Trustee Romanello,
Yes.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes. That motion passes 6-0. Do we have a motion for ordinance number 03-2022?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 03-2022, an ordinance annexing to the town of Monument the property addressed as 17750 Elwood Drive, consisting of 5 acres.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Trustee Shaning,
Yes.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Romanello,
Yes.
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee LaKind.
Yes.
That motion passes 6-0. Do we have a motion for ordinance number 04-2022?
I make a motion for ordinance number 04-2022, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the town of Monument, establishing the large lot residential LLR zone district related to the area known as 1775 Knollwood, consisting of 5.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Trustee Romanello,
Yes.
Trustee Shaning,
Yes.
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee LaKind.
Yes.
That motion passes 6-0. That takes us to item 6, discussion item, Chapter 18, amendment timelines. Ms. Harrington.
Good evening, Mayor, trustee members. For the record, Megan Harrington, Planning Director. I will be short and sweet. At our meeting on January 3rd, we discussed the comprehensive plan, how that relates to zoning, and the potential adoption of industrial design standards. And at that meeting, the board seemed to be in favor of staff looking at creating a draft ordinance related to that, and directed staff to have an ordinance back for consideration, or the thought was to have the ordinance back for consideration on February 7th. And so I just wanted to take a couple minutes to show you how we're going to get there. January 12th, we had a work session with the Planning Commission after their regular hearing, got initial input from the Planning Commission, and staff took those thoughts and ideas and refined a draft even further. Tomorrow, January 19th, we're going to have a meeting with a few concerned citizens and industrial property owners to again review the draft and give initial input. January 26th, the Planning Commission has agreed to hold a special hearing to hear a draft and make a formal recommendation to the board. So that needs to happen at a special hearing in order to make that February 7th Board of Trustees meeting. And then here we are at February 7th with the hope we will bring an ordinance before you for formal action. That ordinance does not actually go into effect until March 18th, based on the requirements for publication, and that the ordinance is effective 30 days after being published, and that is per state statute. So that the earliest the ordinance would go into effect would be March 18th. So that is the time frame we are on. Again, pretty aggressive, getting input, taking all of the input, reviewing all of the ideas and potential solutions with citizens, property owners, and the town attorney, with the hope to bring something back here before you on February 7th.
Thank you. Questions for Ms. Harrington? Trustee Clark?
Yes. Thanks for that explanation and this timeline. I'm curious on the January 12th item, Planning Commission to hold a work session, or they already held a work session at the end of the regular meeting to review the staff drafted ordinance.
Yes, on the 12th, they did hold a work session. Staff had some draft work already prepared, and we discussed that and got some comments from the Planning Commission on an ordinance and thoughts on how to additions to make to that ordinance. So we've done that.
And so the staff that is drafting the ordinance, is there an attorney amongst our staff that does that? Or are the staff?
Actually, you're looking at her. I'm not an attorney. I play one at work. No, in all seriousness, I'm researching other ordinances, what other communities are doing, and I am confirming that with our town attorney, Joe Rivera. He has seen staff's initial work and commented on that initial work to date. And as that morphs into something different, we will ensure that we are reviewing that with Joe as well.
So is it common that staff can create ordinances for municipalities?
Absolutely, 100%. That's what you pay me for. And then we make sure that all of the ideas are legal. And as the citizens bring forward ideas and we turn those into solutions, in this case for industrial design standards, we will ensure through Joe that they are legally defendable if challenged.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Thank you for that update, Ms. Harrington.
Thank you.
This takes us to item 7, appointment of the Home Rule Charter, appointment of a member for the Home Rule Charter Commission, filling a current vacancy. Board members, you received a list of interested applicants. The the posting was that they attend this evening if they were interested. So I'm going to ask those who are interested that are on this list to please raise your hand so I can get Mr. Logginson. You're here? Sir, your name? Okay. Was there anyone else? Okay, Mr. Anderson, did we have anyone online? Okay. I show 3 people, and the verbiage was, please complete the form linked below and attend the board meeting on January 18th. So I'm going to, if it works for the board, I'm going to call these members up, let them have a minute, these individuals up, and let them have a minute to discuss their interest in the Charter Commission.
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay.
On these, on this vacancy, does the individual that's coming forward, they have to live in the town of Monument?
Yes. It's the rules, the same as any election rules, because it's a.
That's what I thought, but I
elected
just
board.
wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Mr. Logginson, will you step up, please?
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Okay.
Trustees. My name's Wayne Logison. I am a 12 or 13-year resident of Monument. Live downtown, 83 Washington Street, right across from St. Peter's Church and School. Several of our 6 children have attended St. Peter's School, and at one point we had 5 children in 6 children in 5 different schools right here in the Tri-Lakes area. And my interest in joining this commission is that I think we have the opportunity to become one of the greatest communities in Colorado, if not the rest of the United States. I think we're uniquely situated that way right now because much of the rest of the state of Colorado is going in directions that I think are considerably different than the values of the majority of people in Monument, Colorado. And this can be an enclave that makes a real niche for itself by remaining and becoming an even more so family-friendly town and a place where people would like to go who don't want to live in drug-infested Denver and many of the other Front Range communities that have become so hostile to people who just want to raise children in a safe environment with good schools. Now, to do that, we need all of the autonomy we can get to make that happen. We cannot be connected with some umbilical cord to the state where they can come in and make all sorts of decisions for us that ought to be ours. And so obviously we need to become a home rule city. 95% of Coloradans live in a home rule city if they live in a municipality at all. And Colorado Springs is a home rule city. Most of the communities in our area are home rule cities. We simply, when I moved here in 2008, this was a much different community. It kind of, sort of a glorified truck stop in many ways, and has become a very sophisticated community, a place that attracts people with high degrees of education, good families, and I just think we are becoming a destination town, and we'll become. We don't want unlimited growth, but we also want to be the kind of place that attracts good businesses and good people, that is safe. I'm glad that voters decided that they wanted to increase police in a country that is enduring a movement of defund the police. We want to send a message that this town is safe. So we need to be able to do this locally with local autonomy. It also needs to be done right. When the charter is written, it needs to be written in a manner that we can achieve success by putting the right people in the right positions of authority where they can be held responsible by the taxpayers, by the voters. We have seen some changes like to that effect that have had dramatic change in, for instance, Colorado Springs and Pueblo, where the charter was rewritten in such a manner that Colorado Springs went from international cautionary tale just 10 or 12 years ago to showing up on lists as number 1 or 2 of the most desirable cities in which anyone in the country would live if given their choice. That is a tremendous transition, and it only happened because they changed the fundamental structure of government without doing anything weird or radical. And so I think we have all sorts of options in front of us that the commission can discuss and debate, and we can come to terms with what we think will give our local elected officials the best options to make this community the envy of Colorado and the place everyone wants to be if they want a safe, affordable, friendly place to conduct their business, to do their jobs, and to raise children. And for that reason, I would be honored if you would select me to serve on this committee. I have a lot of experience in my career looking at, I've lived in multiple large cities and small cities. Phoenix has a city manager form of government. Chicago does not. Colorado, you can look. There are all sorts of different varieties of city government, and we need to study them all, and we need to see what works best for a town this size. And I look forward to participating in that if you so choose me. Thank you very much. And I can take any questions anyone would like.
Thank you. Let's hold our questions till we get through the introductions. Does that work? Okay, good. Miss Williamson.
Oh, thank you. That's my nickname. My legal name is Eleanor M. Williamson. I have lived here in Monument for about 18 years. I live in the town of Monument now as of August this past year at 189 4th Street, and I have a business in downtown Monument as well for about 15 years. So I would love to serve on the commission in any capacity I can help. I love the way the monument is going towards with the help of our trustees and the rest of the departments. So it's a beautiful town. I would love to just keep working on it and help whoever is on the commission. And I thank you for the gentleman that did come up to apply for it. So that's all I can think of.
Thank you, Ms. Williamson. Mr. Levere.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know if I can be as eloquent as Mr. Laugesen. I do note that him and I share many similarities. My children too attend St. Peter's Catholic School, 3rd and 6th grade. I've lived in Monument since 2017, although not my first rodeo, I would say. I used to live in Woodmore as a kid. Grew up on the Toboggan Hill, as they would say. I want to highlight some of my experiences that I could bring to the commission, I believe. I am a retired U.S. Army officer. I retired and made it my mission in life to get back to Monument as soon as possible. I achieved that goal, and I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form. I hold a master's degree and multiple industry certifications, and I consider my strength to be research, being able to dig into all the different documents and find what the real truth of the matter is, and be able to write that appropriately and help out in that way. I recognize Mr. Laugeson's commitment to the community, as well as Ms. Williamson, I'm sorry. So I'm just here to help, and if you'll give me that consideration, I appreciate it. Once again, Ryan Levere, 179 Lapis Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levere. And I do see that Miss Hayes just showed up. Miss Hayes, will you step up and give us a 1-minute overview?
I apologize for being late because of Martin Luther King Day. This was moved to Tuesday. This was our business after hours night. So I finished announcements at 7 o'clock at the Hearth House and ran over here as fast as I could because that's my day job. So I'm Terry Hayes with the Tri-Lakes Chamber of Commerce. One of the reasons why I want to be part of this commission is I feel that the voices of the businesses need to be heard. I would say Mike's actually the 3rd town manager that I have been trying and wanting this to happen. I'm thrilled that we are looking at doing the home rule, but there's a lot of aspects that are going to affect businesses, and I think we need to look at it not just from a resident standpoint, but how the decisions that this commission make are going to affect our businesses and promote them. Part of it is trying to get some lodging tax, get some advertising dollars in here, get people coming to Monument and realize what a great town that we are. So from my standpoint, you all know me. I am all about business here, and that is what I want to look at and help support. That is my main focus. I want to be a balance to some of the people that are already on the commission and look at it from the business side. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Hayes.
All right, thanks.
Was there anybody else before we move on? Okay. We have 4 great candidates. We can only pick one. How would the board like to move forward with this? Yes. Do you have, is it questions for all of them or? Okay. So we'll do another round here. Mr. Laugenson, will you come up again? Do you want to start?
Mr. Lexington, could you briefly tell us your experience or what your knowledge is, your knowledge base about charter commission?
Yes. Charter commissions are to put together a proposed charter that the community will then vote upon. And it needs to be written in a manner that the community fully understands. And charter commissions meet to debate and discuss and research and study what works where, and compare our community to communities with similar demographics and dynamics, and then comprise this document and present it to the public to see if that's what the public wants. Well, I've been in the media covering city government for many, many years, government at all levels, municipal governments, large and small. I was the city government reporter in Salina, Kansas, a town of about 50,000 people. I was the city government reporter in Phoenix, Arizona, a considerably larger city, and covered Congress in congressional hearings for a long time in Washington, D.C. So I've been an observer of government process at various levels my entire adult life.
Other questions from the board? Trustee Clark?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming and applying for this position. I've been dying to meet you for years, and I just haven't had the opportunity to do that. What is your understanding of the creation of a charter? For instance, as an example, would you recommend or lean towards rooting it in the Constitution, for instance? How would you start developing that plan?
Well, I mean, I think a charter is in effect a constitution for a community. So we really have to look at other constitutions and what they mean, and whether we're talking the state constitution or the federal constitution, which we have seen both come into play many times in recent years to protect Colorado from federal encroachment. We've seen the state constitution do that. We've seen the federal constitution, which was primarily devised, exclusively devised to restrict the powers of the federal government and to dictate what the federal government is able to do and should do, and what it absolutely cannot do. And so I think this is a very similar type of thing, only it's scaled down to the level of a town the size of Monument.
So you would be in favor, for instance, of creating a charter with the United States Constitution as its foundational document?
Yes, I mean, I like a lot of what's in the United States Constitution, almost all of it. And I like a lot of what Monument has done to try to make itself free from some of what the state has tried to do to Monument. Becoming a home rule city would certainly assist our efforts in doing that.
I would agree with you.
You know, for instance, we had a couple of years ago when we had a big controversy about a methadone dispensary coming into Monument, which would have done great harm. I think almost everyone in Monument believed that. That was first imposed on us by a state agency that considered us actually part of South Metro Denver. And we were to serve South Metro Denver. And then when several of us went to a state committee at the legislature to complain about this and to explain why this was so unreasonable and such an inappropriate neighborhood and location for that, we were told that this was a local issue and we shouldn't be talking to them about it. Well, they were absolutely right, except that this had been initiated at the state level.
And how was that able to happen? Do you know?
Well, I think it was able to happen because we weren't structured in such a way to, I mean, part of the reason it was able to happen is we didn't have the authority to tell them no. And in the long run, we ended up spending a lot of money in a lawsuit that we had to settle to make it go away.
And that was because we were statutory, is that correct?
Correct. That's part of it. And it also had part of the, it partly had to do with the structure of our city government at the time and decisions being made and confusion as to who should be making those decisions. So decisions were made and completed before they went through the official process and even had, for instance, the approval of the council or the mayor. That got us locked into some stuff that was real hard to get out of. And I think that was just because we don't have a constitution, so to speak, or a charter, as we'll call it, that really dictates whose responsibility, what responsibility belongs to whom.
And I just have one other question. Did you or did your wife drive all 6 of those kids to school?
Yeah.
All
It's-
6 of the schools are 20 feet away?
Well, the easy one was St. Peter's because that was right across the street. The rest of them, it was a lot of driving and a lot of juggling schedules so that we could be at parent-teacher conferences, and sometimes we could be there together, but we're separate. And yeah, it was kind of an ordeal that one year. So
Well,
it
you're-
calmed down after that.
You're commended to be able to get that done so well.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for answering my
was a
questions. I
challenge.
appreciate it.
Any
You're
other
welcome.
questions from the board?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Williamson, will you come up again, please? You want to continue with the same question? Yes.
I think that'll be easy to both your questions. I don't know anything about the Charter Commission, but what I have, to me, if the government or if it's people that I look up to that I would love to support and help with, if they want to go after something, then I would like to help them to get there in whatever I can help with, either work on the committee or work on the just in anything. So that's, it sounds like it's a good thing, and some of our trustees want it, some of our people want it. So then I would say then that's got to be a good thing for our town, the direction that the town will go for it. Same thing, same answer for you.
How do you feel about the constitutional, the charter being based on a fundamental United States constitutional basis?
I'm one that I was born outside of the U.S. I was born in Colombia, and I consider this country the best country in the whole entire planet. I consider the laws and everything that they have tried to do, although everything can get corrupt at some point, but we need to follow our Constitution and all of the things that were set up by our forefathers, and just be the best you can to go forward with the government.
And how long have you been here?
In the U.S. since 1967. In Colorado since 67. In the U.S. since 1959.
You're a wonderful addition. Thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions? Okay. Mr. Levere?
So to your first question, what do I know about charter commissions? I first became aware of the differences between statutory and home rule towns in about 2015. There was an incident involving the police at a Walmart in a small town called Lakeside in Denver, in the Denver metro area. For those who aren't familiar with Lakeside or are familiar with Lakeside, Lakeside is approximately the size of a postage stamp. It's about 20 acres, or maybe even less than 20 acres in size, but 60% of that acreage is taken up by a lake. The next biggest thing in Lakeside is the amusement park. The next biggest thing after the amusement park is the Walmart. There are 9 residents of Lakeside, but they somehow managed to field a police force of about 23 police officers. That's my estimation. It could be smaller, could be a little bit larger. But their primary source of income at the time was pulling over people alongside of the interstate. And also that goes for Morrison, towns like Granby as well. Towns that had let their focus grow beyond what they were originally designed to do. So I began to research charter commissions, research home rule, understand what that process was. And it became very clear to me that home rule was the preferred method of governance within Colorado. As stated earlier, over 95% of the people who live within a municipality are within a home rule type of town. Statutory towns are designed for the smaller towns so that they can control what's important to them. But at the same time, once you reach a certain size, which Monument has, we're now over 10,000 residents, 10,392, I believe, as of the 2020 census. Statutory has fallen by the wayside. It's time for Monument to move to a home rule commission. Just knowing that, based on my research and knowing what I've read out there online, and how it works for other organizations and municipalities.
And my question was, what is your feeling about originating the charter on the basis of the United States Constitution?
That's a difficult question because I believe so much in the Constitution, everything about it. I understand that that's the primacy document of the United States government. And I believe that there are things that Monument should be focusing on and working towards on a daily basis. And that the charge of the trustees and town leadership is to be focusing on those things, dealing with Monument on a day-to-day basis. When we have another document out there that exists for the purposes of governing the United States of America, let the different checks and balances work to that favor. So, I mean, I understand that there are elements that need to fall all the way down to the local level through all those different layers of governance, through the states, through the courts, through the counties, and down to the local municipalities. But at the end of the day, I think that there is a lot that we need to be focused on here and working towards on a daily basis. That's what I'll say.
I think that there's a great difference then between the United States constitutional governance and a small town.
I believe that we are beholden to the Constitution of the United States government, and I believe that there are different people responsible for different things at different levels of government. So hold those accountable who are at that level, at their level.
So basically, the small town governance is different than
Absolutely
than the Constitution.
Yeah, absolutely. The President of the United States is not concerned with Monument issues specifically, and nor should Town of Monument leadership be overtly focused on all national issues.
I wasn't talking about overtly focusing on national issues. I'm saying the basic structure of the charter being predicated with the same concepts.
I mean, I could speak to a very specific example. Within Monument, we have metro districts, many metro districts. Colorado has enacted a law that might enable a metro district to limit Second Amendment rights because of the fact a metro district may have the authority to limit Second Amendment rights within their boundaries. We have metro districts that extend beyond the Town of Monument boundaries. It is my belief that Monument should regulate those Second Amendment rights and ensure that the Second Amendment rights are not breached.
Good example. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there any other questions for Mr. Levere? Okay. Ms. Hayes.
To your question, and I think all of us, zero experience with this because I've never, been through this before. This is not a process, but I have been aware of it for years and have been advocating towards it because my feeling is we need the control. It is very, very frustrating. I was with Wayne that day that we went up to Denver and talked to the legislature about the methadone clinic, and it was very, very, very frustrating that they threw some answers back at us, and we're like, we are not a tiny town anymore. We need to grow up, and we need to have more control over what's happening to us and not let the state have those things. And honestly, it's a few things that are different. It's not like we're going off rogue somewhere, and that's not, I don't think, anybody's intention. And I'm thrilled at the 4 candidates. I think any of us would be great up here. So that makes me super happy about it. I got up here because I didn't apply the first time because I am very involved in the town in a million other ways. A lot of you know that I was very helpful to the police department. That was my main focus for a long time, to get that focus. I care about this town. I live downtown. I work downtown. But what I saw with the existing commission and those people that were in there was it's all residents. And you guys know how important our businesses are to this town. And so I thought, one out of the 10 of them or however many there are, we need to have some balance in it. And so that's why I finally decided, you know, I need to throw my hat in. Even though I'm super involved in the town in a lot of other ways, this is a very specific part of it that I felt very passionate about. And I thought, you know, we just need to do that. So I don't have experience in it. However, I've read a lot about it, and I've been very excited about it and did a lot of private yays. And so that's why I'm here. To your question, I believe in being law abiding. And so I'm going to kind of back off, or not back off, but back to what Ryan said a little bit. I look at it as it is a little bit different. And I want at least the laws that we have here in town, I think we need to have control over. And that is the most important part, that we can dictate what our future looks like instead of the state saying something. And so that is the main reason I hadn't thought about it from a standpoint of the Constitution. Of course, I want to support the Constitution. It is why we're here. We're, you know, very grateful Americans. But my main focus is I want to make sure we here in Monument can determine what is best for us and not have someone else do that, and have it serve both citizens and the businesses of our community.
I think that's a really good viewpoint, and I appreciate your elaborating on that.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ms. Hayes? Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Okay, any suggestions on how the board would like to proceed with this pick, this appointment?
So, yeah, is the floor open for nomination?
Floor is open for discussion. We can do nominations. This isn't, Mr. Rivera, if I remember correctly, there isn't a defined process. We just. So there's your instructions. Okay. I like the idea of informal nomination. Okay.
What's the difference between informal and formal?
Just. So basically, nominations that we can discuss without going directly to a vote on that nomination.
Okay, I'd like to make a nomination.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Laugesen.
I second
Okay.
that as well.
Okay, we'll just hold it with the one nomination for now. Any other nominations?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Mr. Levere.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Terry.
Okay. Any other nominations? we made a lot of progress. Okay. Do the individuals that have nominated want to speak to their reasoning?
Well, I'd like to support Mr. Laugesen because I think we've seen from his oratory skills tonight that he would be a great asset, and from his experience of what he's served in Phoenix and other places. I think he's seen a lot, and I think he would be a great asset to that commission.
And I'd like to say that the broadness of his experience going from a large to a small community and his experience being in this town for, I think he said, what, 13 years, 12 or 13 years or more? Could be wrong on that number. And he has a great deal of interaction with a plethora of people and a very diverse amount of communication skills for those people. I know that I have read many of his articles, and he takes a very pragmatic approach to how he resolves issues or deals with problems, or even for great occasions. He's done a really good job in making sure it's a win-win for most people that he deals with. And I really love the fact that they can raise 6 kids.
Other comments on other nominations?
I would like to add to what my colleagues have stated, the Laugesen nomination. I echo their thoughts, but I also heard a little bit more concern for our constitutional and protecting our rights from applicant Laugesen.
Okay. Trustee Romanello, would you like to?
I just know that Terry's been involved in business here in the Chamber of Commerce for a long time and has really supported and has grassroots in Monument. I'm not opposed to Wayne at all, but those two are my shining lights.
And Trustee LeKind?
I don't have any comments other than to actually say I was surprised to see Terry show up, and her perspective, I think, needs to be looked at, especially since she has got her finger on the pulse of the businesses in the community. So I do support that she has brought that to our attention.
Thank you. Well, we definitely have possibly a majority for one individual and then some for another. How would the board like to move forward? Would you like to whittle it down, or would you like to move for a vote?
Can we vote by paper?
I do not believe we can.
I say we move further. Get down any further would probably take. I don't even know if we. Okay.
Okay. Is the board okay with that?
Okay with what?
With moving to a vote?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a formal nomination?
I would like to make a formal nomination or a formal motion to appoint Wayne Laugesen.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll?
Trustee Romanella,
Yes.
Trustee Shaning,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee LeKind,
No.
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-1. Congratulations, Mr. Laugesen. You are now on the Charter Commission. The Charter Commission meets Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. here in Town Hall. Will that be any sort of issue for you? Okay. Welcome aboard.
Thank you all for applying. You are all really good candidates.
Absolutely.
I know that was really difficult. You all are just tremendous people.
Very difficult.
Okay, this takes us to the public comment portion of our agenda. Do we have anybody in person here that would like to make public comment? Sir.
Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you listening to me last meeting. I'm back here to kind of review some of the things that I brought up to you about the developments that could be coming in the near future over here. One of the things that I was really concerned with was property value. how that's going to be affected with the development out there. I spoke out of line last time. I thought the numbers were higher than they were. I talked and researched with some people and found out that it won't be as bad as I initially thought it was. So I want to clarify that right away. The other thing, I did a traffic survey over there because I'm concerned about the amount of traffic that's going to be on Baptist. And just to give you an example, and I only brought 4. But to give you an example on Baptist coming off of 25, on 1/5/22 from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, there were 73 18-wheelers, 32 Bobcats or U-Hauls, 385 cars that went north and south, or excuse me, east and west on Baptist. That was on 5th. On the 7th, from 7:15 to 8:15 in the morning, there were 63 18-wheelers, 28 bobtails, and 507 vehicles. That's going in that short span from 25 to the roundabout. On, let's see, I got stuck there. On 110, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we had 77 18-wheelers, 28 Bobcats, U-Hauls, and dump trucks. Vehicles going the same direction, east and west, 453 vehicles going in that short section, and 90 turn-ins. What I call turn-ins are vehicles that turned into the pilot. They're as foot traffic going into the gas station or into the store. So the traffic is really increasing there. I didn't even do the high time periods that they have high traffic over there, the 5 o'clock or the 6 to 9, that time period, with all those vehicles coming in. I didn't count any of the vehicles that came off and turned and went the other way towards King Super. Didn't even look at it that way. I was just looking at the short section there. At the time where the street narrows to go into the roundabout, there were 3 near misses with vehicles because it funnels down right there. So we've got a pretty bad issue right there. A lot of people do race up through there, and more vehicles are going further up, going up Forest Lake and going up to Mesa Top, our top Mesa Top up there. So those are some of the numbers that I wanted to share with you just on the traffic issues there. They're real numbers. You have to take my word for it. Did I sit there for the time? And I did. I had my soda and kicked back and watched what was happening. So I did that. Then I was concerned about what was going in. And I was able to find out that on the corner of Terrazzo, which is right across from Pilot, there's a possibility, and it's a strong possibility of a quick trip going in there. That's kind of like a come and go. And that's a issue that we need to look at for additional traffic coming up there, because you're going to have more vehicles coming off of 25 and coming in there. I just recently found out that there's a possibility, and I haven't had it verified, but I heard that there's a possibility that the people that own Love's Truck Stops are looking at a parcel down there. And I also found out that there are several entities that are out of state that are buying up all the properties that are out there. So they're more concerned about their profit and stuff and not our community. So that's what I just like to bring up to you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
On that. And if I can just hit up on one other thing that
You'll need to make it quick. Your time is up.
okay, I will do it real quick. You did talk about 70-foot buildings last meeting. Went down, UPS is 35 foot. So that gives you an idea of the sizes there for a quick comparison. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make comment? Please remember, public comments should be held to 3 minutes. Mr. Anderson, do we have anybody online that would like to make public comment? Okay. This time we'll move on to item 10, board authorization items. We have none at this time. Correct, Ms. Erickson, Mr. Foreman?
I've not been informed of any.
Item 11, town manager report. Was everybody able to read over Mr. Foreman's report? And was there any questions on that report?
I do have something I'd like to say about that.
Okay.
I think Mr. Foreman and his team are doing an excellent job on this report. I appreciate all the information and how easily it's distributed. I'm wondering if some actual numbers for the accounting section, though, if we could include some type of numbers for that in the future, that would be awesome.
We can, but remember, we give those out monthly to the board also. So you get those monthly, and then also in the budget report, there's annual in there also, but we could definitely put it in there if you need it.
I would love that because it'd be very quick and easy to grab real quick without having to go through extensive documentation. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. I got a couple of statements if the board doesn't about that.
About the town manager report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just like to thank all the directors that were involved in this. As you know, Mike Foreman did not come up with this. This was something that our entire staff worked on, led by Madeline Vanderhook. She compiled all the information, all the love the graphics and everything like that. Her team worked on that. And so just like to thank staff, especially our directors and Madeline, on all the hard work that they did on this. And I appreciate y'all's comments on it. So thank you very much to staff and to Madeline on that. And then also 2 updates that I want to give you. Last week, I think it might have been Thursday or Friday, we filed the restated 2021 budget, was filed with the state within our deadline of January 31st. And then also today, the 2022 budget was filed with the state. The deadline, once again, was January 31st on that. And would just like to thank Jessica and her team for following that and getting all that information to the state so they can review it for us.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, if there's no other questions for Mr. Foreman, we'll move on. Board of Trustees comments. Do we have any comments from the Board of Trustees?
I have some comments I'd like to make regarding the resolutions that we had all discussed for several weeks. I have had the privilege and the honor to speak to quite a few people, and they have asked me to bring it forward as an elected monument trustee. I have agreed to represent the voice of the citizens and their expressed concerns over economic, health, education, medical freedoms, election integrity, and public safety at the local level these past several months. Based on that input and after patiently waiting for this board to evaluate proper responses where consensus was reached for a broad-based resolution language to be the most advantageous for our citizens, I now move for a vote of the board to approve the Constitution and Bill of Rights resolution for the town of Monument, Colorado.
That is a motion. Do we have a second?
I think the resolution don't resolutions need to be brought in our packet so we have an opportunity to review them?
But, right, but you can make a motion at any time during a meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So motion would be a motion to put this on a future agenda,
The very next one.
on the very next agenda. So that is a motion. Do we have? I believe you're talking about your specific one.
Yes, and everyone, can do the same with theirs, or I can put all 3 on it right now.
Well, I think, okay, do you want to specify your motion for your?
Yes, I think that would be great.
Okay.
So again, I would like to move to put this resolution on the very next agenda for vote of the board to approve it.
I'd like to make a point of order.
Okay.
No residents have come forward publicly on social media or in front of the board to have these constitutional crisis protections protected.
I would like to do a point of order also in that I have a motion on the table.
Even with the motion on the table, there is open discussion. Okay. So we have a motion. Is there any other discussion or a second? That is correct.
So while it's okay to, I agree, let's get them on the agenda, let's get them. Is to get them on the next. I agree. I don't take up any more of the public's time. I think we just and see what happens with those, and then I've got some further.
The motion was for her
Okay,
resolution.
so just one of them.
Just that's what's on the table right now.
Okay.
Additional comments or a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for a vote on bringing forward the constitutional Bill of Rights resolution. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Trustee Shading? Trustee Romanella?
No.
Trustee LaKind?
No, because there's no constitutional crisis going on in the town of Monument. That constitution should be dealt with at the federal level, not in the town of Monuments level.
Mayor Wilson?
No.
Trustee Stevens?
I vote no. I think the language is too vague and too ineffective, so.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
That motion fails 4-2. That takes us back to Board of Trustee comments. Is there any additional board comments?
This is more just a question. Again, I'm okay with however we want to proceed, but we are kind of in the middle. A couple of them. Trustee Stevens had another resolution. I had the Second Amendment resolution. Again, I'm okay if we decide to scrap those, but I think we should just decide to put them on the agenda for a vote. And then our workshops, I think the workshops worked really well. I think that in the workshops, we all, came together and had some good discussions. So I would like to see these still make it onto the agenda if possible, but then continue to meet for workshops, but not for this purpose, for the purpose of some of the ordinances and supplementals and building issues that we're working on.
I believe that the only feedback we have gotten from these workshops, and I think you were kind of leading to that, is negative feedback. I think currently with the direction, mandates and requirements are going for some of those things. I think maybe our resolutions should take a back burner for the time being.
We should continue on with the opportunities because they're issues of concern with the town of Monument.
Again, the only feedback we have gotten is negative on these resolutions. I have not received anyone saying, hey, can you finish that resolution?
And I would love to see all of the people that are residents of Monument that only seek out Trustee Clark, I would like to see the evidence in email, like those people who have said both on social media and email to our town addresses that these issues are extraordinarily critical to their well-being and the town's well-being, because there has been zero evidence provided.
I would love to give you that, and I have asked that several times, but they do not wish to come forward or be harassed or humiliated by anyone on this board. And I understand that reasoning.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have, before we move to adjournment, I just want to make sure, do we have any other board comments? Okay,
Can we look at, it doesn't have to be immediate, but can I pick the format of the 5:30 workshop? I'm not looking to do the workshop anymore for professional stuff, but could we look at, for example, all of the issues that are going on, some of the staff and community members meetings, get a workshop or two for something. I would like to be in some meaningful
It-
way to hear them. talk
Can't do
about
that during workshops. We don't.
right,
engage
it's
the
what,
public.
what you're,
something else that would be
we could designate, and it is a new year, so this might be a good time to discuss this, but we can set up a town hall down the line
That would be
somewhere where we discuss some of these things. I know that I have gotten feedback asking us where our loop water project is. A town hall might be a good time to say, hey, this is what we're working on, this is where we're at. Like Trustee Schoening's saying, is have a town hall where we can discuss what individual board members are working on in their groups, whether that be with the citizens group or the charter commission or just where we're at on things. So I think a town hall would actually be the best venue for that.
Would you want to
Um,
do that after the February 25th retreat?
I
So you
think
could
that
have
would be,
some
I think that would be
direction.
good to make sure we're all on the same page
Right.
and we all have the same goals in mind.
I think that would be really helpful. I think with some of the stuff we've been working on, and then some of the things the citizens want us to
Okay. Well, we will look to put that together and we'll make it part of the kind of part of the agenda for the 25th.
Definitely.
We're going to need 3 days for that agenda.
I'm thinking so.
Okay. We do have also on the table a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.